Superheroes just about dominate the entertainment industry in multiple forms. Movies gross billions of dollars and video games sell millions of copies, but how did this all happen? How did comic book characters even get so popular? From the golden age of superheroes to the blockbusters of today, we'll explore how these illustrated stories have evolved and shaped pop culture. So grab your cape and fly with me as we break down just exactly why comic book characters came to be. The rich history behind comic books draws us all the way back to 1897, where The Yellow Kid in McFadden's Flats, a comic book, was published. History tells us that this is where comic books came from in the way that we see them today. However, history also tells us that all ideas are birthed by inspiration, so where did the name comic book come from? Technological advancements in printing brought by the Industrial Revolution paved the way for mass creation of print media like newspapers, magazines, and comic strips. Comic strips were these often humorous, satirical, and sometimes political cartoons stripped to the sides of paper that you've probably seen before. These marginalized serials were very popular among young readers, which caught the attention of many artists and writers alike. Slowly but surely, businesses saw the potential to make their own comic panels completely independent of newspapers or magazines. Panels that they could then sell as their own books, sharing that same shelf space as the newspapers that they came from. These books, now called comic books, brought upon a new age of artistic expression that caught the attention of creatives all around the world. Creatives such as writer Jerry Siegel and artist Joe Shuster, who decided that 1938 was time to brighten the planet with their brand new character. This character was meant to lead the first issue of Action Comics, a new series that came from publisher Detective Comics. That character was Superman, who completely transformed the industry and ushered his audience into what's now referred to as the golden age of comics. Action Comics #1 sold out almost everywhere and quickly became the most popular comic book at that time. His bold design and incredible strength empowered readers during a time where the fate of the world was at stake. Readers loved that they could live vicariously through Clark Kent's numerous adventures, which naturally inspired competition. Plenty of comics came out at this time trying to recapture what Superman did, with many being extremely successful, but they also came from DC. Only one notable competitor really stood a chance at dethroning their slowly emerging comic empire. Marvel Comics #1 was the first successful attempt at doing this, and it actually kinda worked. Over time, comic sales skyrocketed to 1.5 million issues sold a month. Plenty of readers found plenty of characters to choose from, and by 1956, we slowly transitioned to the Silver Age of comics. The comics market was starting to change. Comics were everywhere, and these so-called superheroes all started to blend together. Everyone's powers were roughly the same, and readers had a hard time relating to our heroes when the whole cast played the same roles. Change was needed from new leadership that could bring these superheroes to a level that audiences could just get more excited about. Which brings us to Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, the creators of Spider-Man. Spider-Man wasn't just your average superhero that could lift 50 times his weight. Well, yes, he could do that. He also had problems though, and his days didn't just end when the bad guys were put in their places. He went home and he lived his double life just like we do. He had relationship problems, was bullied in school, and lived a life consumed by the grief from the death of his Uncle Ben. Peter Parker showed creators that there could be more to comic books than superhuman feats and stories focused on action. Comics could be grounded in emotion, and not every superhero is going to get the happy ending that they deserve by the end of the issue. Entire teams of characters were written as allegories for real-world events, connecting readers to the lives that they were living. A perfect example of this shift in tone was the death of Peter Parker's longtime girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, by the hands of the Green Goblin in 1973, which gave us the Bronze Age of comics. This Bronze Age is when we started to see artists take grander leaps with their storytelling, with comic books focused on social issues that became more politically conscious. It became clearer and clearer that comic books weren't just for kids anymore. The 80s came and went with more mature stories leaning into the notion that comics, just like movies or novels, could have something to say about the world we live in. No longer were stories just about being relatable or exciting. They could actually present a worldview worth reading. As comic sales started to decline over the decades, publishers like Marvel and DC looked to spread to other forms of media, with movies and video games making the most sense. Several attempts had been made previously, with some more successful than others. You didn't have to fill in the blanks between panels with your own imagination anymore. It took some time, but the transition was made, and now movies and video games are the biggest platforms for comic books to truly come to life. Now, more than ever, comics are being used to their fullest potential. We came a long way from those little comic strips, and now those comic book characters dominate most forms of entertainment that we see today. But what's your favorite comic book character? Have they made their silver screen debut just yet? Be sure to let us know in the comments down below, and as always, like the video and subscribe to the channel, or give us a follow on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Thanks for joining me on our journey from panel to panel across comic history. Hey there, you know those great videos that you've been watching on both of our shows, 300 Seconds of Science and 5-Minute Flashback? Well, we've decided to join forces and make a brand new channel called Smart Cookies. Don't worry, we're still going to make those same awesome videos that you're used to on the channel, they just might look a little different. It'll be the new place to watch some of our best videos that we've yet to offer. We'll see you there on March 14th.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. Do you want to gain experience in video production, professional social media, or working with real clients? Visit the UA School of Communications online or follow us on social media to learn more. ZTV, make media, make a difference.